and I've hired about 10,000 people over the past 15 years. And along the way, I've met some great people. When you're a recruiter, your job is to find people that have great skills, great passion, that can fit the culture of the company. And when I do that, when I manage to make that match, great things happen. So on my way around the country, being absolutely happy speaking to job seekers, I meet some great, interesting people, and tonight I'm going to tell you a story about one of them. And I wish I could take credit for hiring him, but I can't. So I was on a trip to Los Angeles recently, a couple months ago actually. And I'm with my husband, and we're renting a car. And as usual, we're running late. So we go back to the rental car company. And also as usual, I've managed to pack 49.5 pounds into the 50-pound bag limit. So we take the bags out of the trunk, we park the car, take the bags out of the trunk, and we're going to the rental car shuttle. And we get there, and there's one couple in front of us. And I'm watching as the bus driver comes to the back of the bus, and he actually takes our luggage, and he takes it with strength. And he puts the luggage on the rack, one by one. He's throwing it on the rack, and I'm like, wow, he's strong. I'm looking at his muscles. So then, my husband and I walk to the back of the bus, and we take the last two seats, because of course, we're running late, and of course, the bus is packed. And I'm starting to think about my exit strategy. I'm thinking, well, how am I going to get off the bus with all these people that want to get off the bus at the same time? And then it happens. The bus driver walks to the back of the bus, and he leans in, and he starts talking to us like as if he was one of us. And he makes a joke. He looks at this guy that's wearing a Steelers jacket, and he says, "Better luck next year." And then he looks at this 3-year-old girl, and he starts talking to her about, "Is this your first trip?" And he starts making jokes and talking to us, and I'm just like, wow, I've never seen that before. So then he goes up to the front of the bus, and he starts driving away, and the first thing he does is, of course, he thanks us for renting with this particular rental car company. And then he apologizes for the crappy weather we've had in Los Angeles, as if this is his fault. And then he puts on some great music, and I'm bopping in the rental car shuttle, and we're all bopping, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, this is an experience. This is no longer a chore to get back to the airport. So we're approaching the airport, and now all of a sudden everybody else is planning their exit strategy. They're looking at the luggage, they're looking at the door, they're looking at the people. They're looking, and they're trying to figure out how are they going to get off the bus faster than everybody else. It's a big problem. Because normally what happens is it's like a stampede of elephants. They go running, all of us would go running to the luggage, and we're bumping into each other, and the luggage is falling down, and we're hurting each other, and we're all trying to get off the bus. It's like the New York City subway. Okay? Now there are lots of different kinds of bus drivers. There are the bus drivers that help you with your luggage. There are the bus drivers that make me create a boo-boo face in order to get them to take my luggage. And then there are bus drivers that actually smile but do not carry my luggage. But this one was different. So I'm sitting in the back of the bus, and we're approaching the airport. And then all of a sudden we get to the airport. And then I see something I've never seen before. The bus driver comes to the back, and he says, "Do me a favor, everyone get off the bus, and what I'll do is I'll hand your luggage to you." So I reach into my pocket, and I pull out a $5 bill. Normally I tip about $1 a bag like everybody else. So I start walking off the bus with my husband, and the bus driver has his hand out, and in his hand is a pile of money so big that he can't close his hand. That's how big his tips were. So I think to myself, wow, this is pretty good. We get off the bus, and he does this thing again. He grabs the luggage, and he puts it on the ground, and we each take our luggage 2 by 2. It's the most orderly thing I have ever seen. It's just like the carousel in the airport. He copied that. It was a display of efficiency, strength, and courtesy in a 15-minute window. Now, Let's think about this bus driver. Because what I think he did is he created tiny little ripples. And I'm going to talk to you about those tiny little ripples. But first I want to talk about, if you're sitting here thinking, why is she telling me a story about a bus driver driving a shuttle in an airport? This is not a very significant job in the world, right? You're thinking, maybe she should tell me a story about someone she hired who saves lives or rescues homeless kittens. And maybe you're thinking, I don't have a very significant job either. I just do X, Y, and Z. But do you know that this bus driver created an experience out of a chore? And he does this 120,000 times a year. Because he meets 15 people, times 4 per hour, times 8 hours a day, times 5 days a week, times 50 weeks a year. I give him 2 weeks vacation. 120,000 people a year. That's not insignificant. Small ripples make big waves. Here are some of the ripples he created, at least in my life. And I believe in the lives of 120,000 people a year. First of all, he created some repeat customers. I'm definitely one of them. In fact, this past weekend, I just came back from LA again. And guess what? The price to rent a rental car from all the competitors was about 150 bucks. And guess what? I paid $300 to rent from this rental car company. Because I really wanted to see this guy again. So when companies flourish, that's going to help the economy. And what about efficiency? I believe that he saved us about 3 minutes each. And now you're thinking, 3 minutes? That's not a lot of time. But remember, when you multiply that by the 120,000 people, that's a lot of minutes. Maybe you can think about some of the things that you do. Maybe you can shave 3 minutes off 10 things that you do a day, if you think really creatively. And now you'll have 30 extra minutes a day to spend with your loved ones, if you can shave 3 minutes 10 times a day. Also, because he's so efficient, he can make more runs to the airport. And that gives him more tips. Because every time he goes out, he's got a pile of money in his hand. Now here comes the ripple about the pile of money. With all that extra money that he earns, he can take his family out to better restaurants, he can buy better clothes, he can go on better vacations. It's a great thing to have all that extra money. Now some of you are thinking, I don't have a job where if I do better things, I get more tips. But guess what? Think about your future. Think about promotions, think about raises, think about bonuses. You can get those even if you can't get tips. And for this particular guy, I'll bet you that he could get a promotion to training manager. He could train all the other bus drivers how to be as courteous as he was. The process that he created to get us off the bus in 3 minutes less, which would help all rental car companies. He might even be able to write a book and sell it to all bus drivers that would be called How to Make More Tips by Being Nice to People and playing good music. Okay? Now, let's talk about the fourth ripple. A good mood. This man puts 120,000 people in a good mood every single year. How many of you can say that you do that? That's what I would like you all to do. I'd like you to put everyone that you meet in a good mood. And how can you do that? By 1, smiling at them. And by 2, making them laugh. Make someone smile, make someone laugh. It's a way to give back to your community. Some of you are doing Habitat for Humanity. Some of you are volunteering in other wonderful ways. But all you have to do is simply smile and laugh, and it changes the world. Let's think about the airport, for example. When you go to the airport, what would happen if all the people in the airline actually smiled and laughed a little bit more? Would you consider taking more airplanes versus buses versus trains? I'll bet you would. And the last ripple that we've learned is we learned what it looks like when people love their job. Now, how do I know that this bus driver loves his job? Because I know what his job description is because of all the times I travel around the country. His job description does not say, pick up heavy bags, play good music, and talk to your customers, and smile, and make them laugh. It does not say that. In fact, his job description says, do not carry bags over 25 pounds. It says it on the bus. If anybody's seen the rental car shuttles, it says on the bus, bus drivers do not have to carry bags over 25 pounds. This man never asked me how big my bag was. It was very heavy. But he didn't ask. He just put it on the bus. He had strength, and he was able to handle it. He was in the right job. Now, funny thing is, this past weekend, I went on another trip to LA, and I met yet another person in my travels. I always find them in my travels, the people who love their job. There was a flight attendant on my flight who was making us laugh before we took off. You know the time when they say to you, I want you to put away all your electronic devices, and they start rattling off the list of electronic devices? So when we got to he was like, put away your computers, and your iPhone, and your BlackBerry, and your Raspberry, and your blueberries, and your strawberries. And the whole plane was cracking up. And then he says, as he's walking down the aisle, he says, and I'm going to come down the aisle, and I'm going to tap on you if I see that you're not doing this. And I don't want you to give me the, I didn't hear that announcement look. Don't give me the, I don't feel like listening to you look. Don't give me the, I don't want to hear what you have to say look. And we were all cracking up on the plane. So after the flight, I decided I was going to follow him, poor guy. And I followed him, and actually was going to the same rental car company I was, believe it or not. And I met him on my rental car bus. And I said, can you tell me, first of all, I said, thank you. Thank you for making me laugh on the plane. And I said, why did you do that? And he said, because people don't fly well. These are his exact words. People don't fly well, and I want to make their flight a little better. Can you imagine if everybody in the airline or the rental car companies wanted to make your trip a little bit better? That's a pretty nice deal. Small ripples make big waves. If we want to go beyond what we are, we all need to make small ripples in our jobs, in our lives. We all need to smile a little more, do a little bit better at our jobs, appreciate our strengths and also our differences. And if we can do all of that, imagine what big waves we can all make together. Thank you very much.